What's up, weirdos? It's Thursday.
Shocking.
Is it?
Sorry.
It's still Thursday. It's Thursday again. It was Thursday last week.
And it's
Thursday
Thursday
this week.
And it's Thursday next week.
It'll be
too.
Thursday next week. The episode's always on a Thursday. I'm Christopher. And as always, I'm joined by...
I'm Mackenzie.
And I'm Sarah.
And this podcast is for weirdos.
What are we doing?
It's fourth episode.
We decided that one of the things we wanted to do was when we go on ghost tours, we want to tell you guys about them and whether or not we would recommend them to a friend. And we've decided that that friend that we are going to use as our metric is, would we recommend Kristen go on these ghost tours specifically? Because she's like spooky, enjoys a ghost tour. What do we think she would have a good time on these ghost tours?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's been on them. We don't know.
We don't know.
And so we did go on 2 ghost tours in the month of August for these 2 hooligans' birthdays.
Yes.
Um,
Our birthdays, which are 18 days apart.
Right. They're like right next to each other, basically.
Twinsies.
Basically twins.
I have one of those.
You do.
Chris is the secret triplet. So we figured we would kind of tell you about the ghost tours that we went on, what we liked about them, what we didn't like about them, what maybe we wish how it could have been better if we had something we didn't like, et cetera, et cetera. So, I assume we want to go like in order that we went on them.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So
We want to talk about the mansions first.
the mansions first. All right. So for Chris's birthday, we talked about this a little bit before. We decided that we were going to go to the witchery, go to dinner, go on a ghost tour in Galveston.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that for Chris's birthday and Mackenzie's birthday. We will also do that for my birthday. That's the thing we do on birthdays now. Until we run out of ghost tours in Galveston, pretty much. Which
But then we can take ghost tours other places.
we can go other places. There are so many places around us that do ghost tours.
Yeah.
I think y'all would actually like the ghost tour that was the bar crawl ghost tour that I did for
In
Alyssa's
Houston?
birthday for Houston. In Houston. I think you guys would enjoy that.
That'd be
one.
fun.
And as somebody who doesn't drink, I did enjoy that ghost tour.
Yeah.
Because it was very interesting history-wise. So there were a bunch of different ghost tours to choose from. If you've never been to Galveston or looked for ghost tours in Galveston, they are a dime a dozen. There are
Multiple companies.
a bunch of companies. There are a bunch of different. Several of the companies have similar tours where they go to similar places, but there's a bunch of different kinds of tours.
It really kind of encapsulates a lot of varying interests.
Right. Like if you are interested in going on a ghost tour, they have a ghost tour for you.
Yeah.
Almost certainly.
We don't promise, but we're pretty sure.
Yeah, almost certainly they have a ghost tour for you, but I don't know what your niche is.
If not, tell us.
If not, tell us, and then
Maybe we'll do the research and we can take you on a tour.
we can take you on a ghost tour, Galveston, of the weird
If
thing
you
that you're into.
Pay us.
Yeah, pay me money.
Pay me money to take you on a tour. I'll do it.
Yeah, we'll all do it.
True.
Um,
We'll show up.
So me and Mackenzie texted Chris, and we said, "Do you want to be involved in the planning of your birthday?"
And he
Chris
went,
said,
"Please, no."
I was
because
so stressed.
he was very stressed, and so we were like, done. So me and Mackenzie went into our individual message, and I went, all right, let's look up ghost tours. And so Mackenzie looked at one company, I looked at a different company. Like we had kind of narrowed it down to these 2 different companies.
We took notes.
Yeah, and we took notes on like what tours we think would be interesting and what tours we think that Chris would most enjoy. Was like, what do we think that he'd be most interested in? And then we went, okay, we're giving you 4 choices. We were like, do you want to go on a mansion tour, a like general historic tour, a red light district tour, or there was like another one that kind of combined the like historic district with the red light district into one. And Chris said, I want to go on the mansion tour.
There were 2 different mansions. There was one that was in a mansion.
Right. It took you on a tour inside. And then there was one that was like, we're going to take you on a tour of like historic homes outside.
Mm-hmm.
And
Kris wanted the one that went inside the mansion.
and we went, great. And then we looked at their website, and they were sold out for Chris's birthday
Yep.
weekend.
And for like
all the
rest
way
of the month.
through the end of August.
We looked in all of August.
Yeah, we were like, okay, well, the weekend that we want to go do this, we can't go on that
Sold
one.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. And Mackenzie found one that she was like, ooh, this cemetery tour. That was the other one. It was Homes, Historic Downtown, Red Light, or Cemetery were the
Yep.
4 that we gave you. And Mackenzie was like, this cemetery tour sounds really cool. And I went, hey, crazy. It's like your birthday's in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do that one for your birthday.
And I went, neat.
And Mackenzie went, that sounds amazing. So we ended up booking
Historic homes.
the Historic Homes tour, where it was a Historic Homes ghost tour that took you kind of through some of the downtown.
Broadway,
Broadway.
Strand, the 20s.
Yeah, Broadway area, but
With-
on kind of like both sides of Broadway.
Yeah. Like Ashton Villa.
That area of Broadway.
Like
Yeah.
23rd to 20th, 19th, somewhere
I
in
don't
there.
remember.
About
It was a
19.
couple of blocks. It was a good walk.
I know we were on 23rd.
No, not quite 19.
Like-
Not quite down that far.
Like
Maybe like 25.
we didn't hit Rosenberg though.
Yeah, we did.
yeah,
walked
we did.
across it.
Remember, because we
Oh.
pointed at the
Like 23 to 25.
yeah 2 blocks, 2 blocks that way, but we went up and down a couple of blocks.
Yeah.
So it was great. We had a good time. Like before then, we get to the tour. We all dressed up
Yeah. We're
in
like,
spooky clothes.
we're in like monotones. We're in like grays and blacks. We're
I was
spooky,
wearing,
we're-
I believe, my Bigfoot with an alien on his shoulder looking up at the stars.
I was wearing my like cryptids around a campfire black and white t-shirt.
Right. Like we were wearing black shirts.
Yeah.
Kris was wearing, I think, an alien shirt
Yeah.
Potentially. I think so.
and had our birthday boo sash, which is somewhere in this room.
And like I also had my like leather bracelets, like with the like
The spikies.
the spikies on one and the like
He
little
gothed it up a little
D-rings on
bit.
the other. Yeah. Like I was like, yeah, we're going out.
We're going on a ghost tour.
Yeah, we're going on a
We're
ghost
gonna
tour.
go be spooky on the ghost tour.
I mean, like those are my generally like the one with the D rings on there.
Uh-huh.
I wear that every day,
Right.
except for when we're recording because it jingles.
It jingles. So the tour told us to meet at a gazebo
Across,
Right next
across
to
the
the
street from the library. And that we could park in the library parking lot.
And
So
we
parked in
went
the parking lot,
bet.
and we went and sat at the gazebo. So we go sit at the gazebo, and then we see this group get out of their
Ugh.
car. That was
Old
2
people.
old couples, very on
Like,
vacation.
Retirees
who were doing something fun on vacation.
Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah.
Khakis.
Yeah.
Flip flops.
And they walk up and they go, "Are you guys?"
They said, "Are you here for the ghost tour?" And we were like, "Yeah, we're here for the ghost tour." And they were like, "Okay." Like, we're not running the ghost tour.
I think they thought we were when we first walked up.
We were sitting on the gazebo.
Yeah.
And so then they sat at the benches. And then I went, oh no, this is the vibe. We also booked the 8 o'clock tour because
There was a 10 o'clock tour.
we decided not to do the 10 o'clock.
It was Galveston that late can get not
A little
safe.
spicy.
And we were going to be, our tour was like from 8 to 9:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were like, it'll be dark, it'll be fine, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Like we'll see sunset and then the tour will start.
Yeah.
And also we were
We had to drive off the island
we had
after
to
this too.
we also had to the witchery closed at like 5.
Right. That was the other thing, was we didn't want to have a big chunk of time to kill between
Where we're just
doing the
sitting
reading at the
around.
witchery and then eating dinner and then be like, what do we do? So,
Yeah, because that's just gonna get us in trouble.
because we're just going to be bored, or we're going to go somewhere to kill time, lose track of time, be late for our tour.
Yep.
So
We
we were
know
on
how
the
we
8
are.
o'clock. And we were also like, we'll do the 8 o'clock one because then hopefully most of the like people who are on this tour, because it's also a like historic tour. I want to be clear, it was billed as a ghost tour, not as a historic tour. It was
Right.
a ghost tour of historic
Historic
homes
Mm-hmm.
That are also haunted.
that are haunted. Historic ghosted homes. And we were like, it's 8 o'clock. Hopefully most of the like general, I'm going on this as a history tour, tourists will have done theirs at the 2 o'clock or the 4 o'clock
Tour times. Yeah.
tour times. Because they run this tour
All day.
every 2 hours starting, I think, at noon.
Something
And
like that,
they
yeah.
run it through, I think the last tour they do is at midnight. Or was it at 10?
It was at 10, stopping about 11:30.
Okay, so they don't.
But
do a
then on the
midnight tour.
weekends they did a midnight tour
right?
of the cemetery one specifically.
Yeah. So we were like, great, we get there. It's us. It's these old people. The guy who is our tour guide then shows up and is like, if you're here for the ghost tour, come check in with me. And we like check in with him. And then he goes, can y'all go sit on the benches? And we were like, oh no, the vibe.
Yeah.
We were like, of course.
Yeah, we were like, yeah, of course we can.
Yeah, we
Sorry
can
about
sit on the
that.
benches.
So we go sit on the benches. After everybody gets there and they're all checked in, the like general demographics of this group, it was
Go
me.
from teenage girls.
Yeah, it was like little teeny boppers,
Mm-hmm.
but they were also like not super into it, which was weird.
No.
There was us. There were a bunch of old people, and then there was the couple I will only refer to as the Jesus couple.
Yep.
Because the girl was literally just wearing a T-shirt that just said Jesus, which is fine, but you're going on a ghost tour.
Yeah. It's like people can be Jesus-y and be ghosty people.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Here I am.
Generally
It seemed
speaking.
like an odd choice, and also these people were the kind of people that I expected them to be based on that
Yeah.
from other interactions that we had at the tour.
Mm-hmm. You look at them and you see what they're wearing. Oh, I know who they are.
I know who they are. I know how this is going to go.
Yeah.
So
the vibes were really weird. to
vibes
start
were
off
weird
with.
because the group was like, I was like, oh, this is ghost tour?
Right? It's like,
This
is
where,
very
where are the other
confused.
weirdos?
Right.
Where are our people?
Where are the
Right.
people that are actually interested in
In
weird
ghosts.
shit?
Right. So it was just really odd that most of the people on this ghost tour did not seem really interested in
They were casuals.
ghosts.
They were casuals at best.
And you know what? We're not
Casual about
No.
anything.
No.
If you've gotten this far in our podcast, you
Also,
should know that.
I don't think anyone on the ghost tour wished Kris a happy birthday.
None of them
And he
did.
was wearing a sash that said birthday boo. Whereas in contrast, on Mackenzie's birthday, I think most of the people on that one wished Mackenzie a happy birthday.
It's very odd dynamics.
odd. Maybe we're just too scary.
We were too spooky.
I think they were scared of us.
I think they were scared of us too.
I think they went, oh my God, they're
Honestly.
goths.
As they should be.
Especially
You're on a ghost tour.
be a little spooky.
You're on a ghost tour.
Dress
Anyway,
up, have fun.
We start at the Ashton Villa. Which
Before we
is-
even start the Ashton Villa, he's like, how much do y'all, where are y'all from? And he like points at all the groups and we go, here.
And he goes,
Yep.
he goes,
was
I
not
can't
thrilled.
lie about the history. And we
And
said,
then-
nope.
And then
But
he
we'll
was,
let you lie.
and he goes, I would never lie. That was a joke. And I was like,
bullshit.
Sure.
and then he was
Also,
like,
just before anybody wonders, we did tip this man nicely.
yeah, we tipped him. And then he did go, he went, how, does anyone here know anything about the Galveston Historical Foundation? And I went, I used to work for them. And he went, or no, he was like, what do you know about Galveston history and the Historical Foundation? And you guys were both like, grew up here kind of situation. And I was like, I used to work for the Historical Foundation. And he was like,
Uh-huh.
I was like, yeah, you can't make shit up, bud.
Yeah, it's like, good luck. No lying.
I wouldn't tell on you.
No, we wouldn't tell. We would
but
judge you.
we
though.
would put it in our pocket for later.
Yeah.
For
it's
right now.
Right now. To pull out and be like, he lied. He lied the entire
He lied
tour.
the whole time.
He did not.
He did not. I did not catch him in any lies.
No.
And then he gave us like a brief history of the island that we all, I'm sure, just like zoned out for.
A little bit.
Because it was info that we
It
all
was
knew.
1900 storm. It was
Mass
fucking
graves and
mass
blah,
graves
blah, blah,
and
blah.
influenza and
Yeah. And then,
The island is full of dead bodies. Yes, we know.
Yeah.
and then we went to Ashton Villa, and I'll let you carry on with what you were gonna say.
And when we get to Ashton Villa, we cannot. Normally, they would like you get to walk around more. They did not let us walk around more. They were filming.
There was a bunch of stuff in the yard, and so we couldn't explore the yard.
Yeah,
They were filming for, I think it's 1825, 1823,
1923. The Yellowstone spinoff.
Yeah,
with Harrison Ford.
Yes.
With Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
They filmed all over Galveston Island. It just happened to be at the time that
It happened to
we
be
were,
the weekend that we were exploring
It was the
downtown.
entire week.
Yeah.
Because it was causing traffic everywhere.
Right.
Anyhoomst.
Chris still lived on the island at that
Yeah.
point.
We were going and we started at Ashton Villa and he He goes over the history, which is Ashton Villa's history is very interesting. I've thought about doing
Right.
it as a location. It is a
You should.
it is truly a haunted location. It's a weird place.
It's also so full of
It's
rich
really
history.
It's got really
history.
rich history, and it didn't have like a weird vibe, but it had a like storied vibe.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like you walk into a building that doesn't have anything interesting about it, and you're like, this is just a building. You walk on the grounds of Ashton Villa, and you're like, oh,
Things have happened.
I'm part
here.
of something by being here.
Yeah.
So we started at Ashton Villa. We're taking pictures. We're looking. We talked about the Ashton Villa experience in
Yeah.
our
Our Christmas episode,
episode,
I
so-
talked about some of the weird pictures that I got on this ghost tour.
So we did that, and then we walk across Broadway to down 23rd, across from Galveston Bagel,
Yep.
and it is oh my god, what is it called? Starts with an M. It was redone on Saving 1900,
It had its own show. It was done by the same couple.
Restoring Galveston. Or
Oh,
Saving
right,
whatever.
that house.
And
not
it's,
not Saving 1900. That's the
Do you want me
royalty
to?
company.
Do you want me to Google the name of the
yes,
place really
please.
quick?
I think it's like I want to say Menard, but I don't think that's right.
It's not Menard. That's
Is it
something
Manor
else.
Manor House?
It starts with an M. Anyway,
Keep talking. I'll pull up the name.
we go there, and it was a bed and breakfast that was abandoned. It's had a lot of weird experiences. Our guide had an actual experience in there that was scary.
Yeah.
I would not have been okay if that had happened to me.
You know, I also would be scared.
Mansard.
Mansard house.
Mansard or Mansard.
Mansard.
I was close. Will you look up the other one that's around the corner?
Oh, the other
The
house
other-
that we
yeah.
went to.
Yeah.
So we stopped there. It was cute. We've also looked at staying there overnight, but they have really weird stipulations, so that's probably not going to happen.
Weird stipulations and high prices.
Yeah.
It was
Expensive.
expensive.
Then we go down the block to the Buick building, which is now a church,
Yep.
and we talked about that location.
That one.
And then there was another bed and breakfast, the Primrose Inn, that
I didn't even have to Google it.
it came to me. Because at that location specifically, he talks about haint blue, because that house has a haint blue porch roof, like as the color goes. But he was doing the general, like, do you know? I'm pretty sure one of them was a primrose.
No idea.
I'm just looking at stuff.
Y'all's memories are much better than mine. I don't remember names.
He goes, do you know the history of haint? And he said,
It was fleur de lis.
flirtily. He says, well, it haint green and it haint blue. And we were like, no,
It's because it's haunt.
because it's a variation of the word haunt. Anyway, we're gonna get into that in a different episode. But
We went off on a tangent about that in the hauntings episode.
I know
yeah.
we did, but we'll actually go over the history of those kinds of words. I think in a later episode. That would be
that'd be
fun. We walked down and around. We stopped at the Robert Durst house,
Right.
which, if you don't know that, it's a true crime case. Robert Durst was a New York billionaire who
Did some crimes.
did some crimes, came to Galveston to run away from said crimes,
Pretended to be an old woman
pretended to be an old woman, lived in this duplex house
with a medical student. Oh no, now it's medical
it's
students.
now
living in
Now
it.
it's medical students.
with this other man.
For a ridiculous price too.
It was very-
I looked because one of the rooms was for rent at the time.
Yeah,
and
it's
so I looked it up on Zillow. Ridiculous
Yeah, it was a lot of
price
money.
to be in
A murder house.
a murder house.
It was not that expensive when he did it. This was in like the
Oh, yeah,
right, right.
2010s.
But now it's an expensive place
Yeah.
to live.
And it's not good.
He killed
No.
his
Neighbor.
He killed his neighbor. Was found or was convicted not guilty in Texas, and then goes back to New York. And if you've ever watched the documentary called The Jinx on Max,
It's about
that's
this
about
case.
him. Basically, when he's doing this documentary in the first season, he outs himself to this crime
He confesses.
on microphone
He
still.
forgets that he's being recorded, and he's like, "I did it. I chopped him up."
Yeah, like he commits
Damn.
to more than one crime. crime.
Yeah, he confesses.
And then the second season is about him. He dies in jail before his second conviction happened. So he was never actually like, he hadn't had his appeal time before he passed. So he was never like fully convicted. It was very stupid. Anyway, that house is said to be haunted by the ghost of the man that Robert Durst killed.
Who's looking for his head.
Looking for his head because his head was the only thing never found of him. Sorry.
Gross.
It's gross. And then we went down. We went to a couple of homes, kind of like we weaved through streets a little bit.
Yeah.
One of them was the house where Sarah got the upside down picture. One of them is a really cool Art Deco house. Like they call it the Storybook House. It's a very fun.
It's really pretty.
It's the architecture and painting
gorgeous.
is.
I
Gorgeous.
pissed off our tour guide at that house too, because he had a little rinky-dink flashlight and he was pointing the flashlight at
the
house to show us some like
architecture,
and he was like, I guess my flashlight's not working very well, and I have a flashlight that is as
Brighter
powerful
than
as the sun, and so I went, here, let me help, and I like pulled my flashlight out and pointed it at the house, and he like glared at me, and I was like, all right,
fine.
I was trying to help so you could talk about the pretty house, but all right.
And then across that street was a house that has a dog that apparently is notorious for trying to get our tour guide.
Yeah,
It's
did
very
not
funny.
like the tour guide.
They're not buds.
Yeah,
I would say that
that's the
tour-
house with allegedly a mummy buried on the property.
Yes.
I don't think the mummy's there.
No, I know you don't.
And then we went back to Ashton Villa and tipped him and departed.
And that was it. He had a puppy.
He did have a
it was
tiny little
tiny
dachshund
little
puppy. It
dog.
was very cute. The highlight of that
Itty
tour was his
bitty.
puppy.
Yeah.
I showed. I like was looking through my pictures because I was like, I'm gonna see if I caught anything, and that was when I discovered the upside down picture
And
I
the
went,
black and white picture.
And the black and white one was later. The black and white one was when I was going through them at home, and I was texting my cousin about it. But I was going through the pictures and I was like, oh my god, this picture is upside down.
And he
the
didn't react.
the teeny boppers were like, oh my god, show me, and I showed them and I was like, isn't that weird? It's like upside down, and he goes, okay. And I was like, not every ghost picture is going to have a ghost in it, dude.
Yeah.
Sometimes this happens.
He was fine.
Oh, he did show us a weird ghost photo at the Mansard house.
Between Mansard and the other one.
Yeah.
And then there was another B&B that we stopped at briefly.
Yep.
But just at the driveway area. We
Yeah.
looked up all three of them as we were there
To see how much it would cost
us to stay there.
Yeah. Pretty expensive, all of them. But I think the last one was the most affordable.
We could figure out. I think we had determined two of them we could actually pull off staying at.
Yeah. The Mansard house was not one of them.
Yeah,
No.
it was the other two.
It was too expensive.
I would rate that tour like a 7 out of 10 solely because he did give good history. For the most, 6.5.
So here's the thing. I would rate the tour guide probably a 7 out of 10. I would rate our group a 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our group did not give any energy.
He was
did not
trying.
give anything to this guy.
We helped.
And
Nobody
so,
else did.
But so then the problem was we were annoying
Yeah.
We were too much.
because
We were too much compared to everybody else.
compared to everybody else who was nothing.
Yeah.
So that made it where he was like, okay, I have the opposite ends of the spectrum here. I have one group of people who's really into this and really loud and really rowdy and want to talk about this, and I have a bunch of people who aren't even asking me questions.
Yeah.
And kind of don't want to be here.
Yeah.
It seems like.
And this is not a dig at him at all, but he's very much a skeptic.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I can appreciate in a tour guide.
Yeah.
But he was the kind of skeptic that felt very
I don't know why
unenthused.
I don't know why he works for a ghost tour company.
Right.
As a skeptic. The kind of skeptics who I would expect to work for ghost tour companies are the kind of skeptics who are like, I want you to prove me wrong about my belief about ghosts.
Yeah.
I want
I want ghosts to
I would
be real.
love to experience a
He
ghost.
does not want ghosts to
right.
be real.
Like
he had a very scary ghost experience,
yeah.
and
Man wouldn't go within 50 feet of that house.
He did not want to be there.
he did not want to be there.
And
And also did a lot of satanic panic.
yeah.
There are demons. Satanism was happening in this house.
Right.
And it's there's a portal to hell, and it's
All right, brother.
okay, but is there?
Right.
I don't think so.
Right. And
I think you're
he was the
being
one.
overdramatic.
He did spread some misinformation because he was talking about there's a mausoleum on the island that has.
An upside down cross.
It's not upside down. It's tilted, but he said it's an upside down Satanist cross, and it's like,
Yeah.
no,
It's like one. It's the St. Peter's cross.
it's the cross. Yeah, it's St.
Two.
Peter's cross. 2. That's not even what the cross is on that mausoleum.
Yeah.
And 3, the upside down cross is not a Satanist symbol.
No.
It's the St. Peter's cross. You know, like the one at the pearly gates.
Yeah.
That guy.
Who is like, yeah.
Overall-
Notable good guy.
Notable good guy in Christianity,
Yeah.
St. Peter.
He was fine. Like
It
the
was-
tour guide,
right.
it was fine. We
It
didn't
was
have a
fine.
bad time.
Would I recommend that specific tour with that guide to
No.
Kristen? No.
Probably not. No. The history, great. For
Right.
somebody unacquainted with the island,
Probably really good.
yeah, probably pretty good.
Right.
History.
For a casual,
Fine.
probably an okay ghost tour.
Guess
Yeah.
what? We aren't casual.
The problem is we are not the target audience for that kind of ghost
No.
tour.
They want people that don't know the island.
Don't know the island.
Don't know about ghosts.
Don't know ghosts.
Are
They-
scared.
yeah, are into like the perpetuation of demonic things are bad, yada yada yada. I think also he was talking
And that
about someone
everything
at
is a
somewhere
demon.
getting scratched, and it was 3 scratches, which is a
Because-
mocking of the Trinity.
Yeah. It was at the house with the mummy.
The mummy house, yeah. And there was something else that he brought up that was like, it's demons, and I was like, it's just a ghost,
You
guy.
know, like that drove me nuts. Yeah.
But there was one point when we were at one of the house where he was like, there are demons in this house. And there
We
was
all
a
look at
Satanist.
each
We like looked at each other like, I'm going to throw up. And the Christian guy was, you were like, we were like, can we fucking leave? I'm done with this house. And they go, yeah, it's scary that there's Satanism and stuff in here.
And we were just like,
we were like-
uh-huh.
We're like,
We know a lot of Satanists.
yeah, it's like we have friends who are Satanists. No, Satanists are not scary. What's scary is the like the like.
We yelled at them.
Yeah, we were not unkind,
I
but
was-
like we were blunt,
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
and then they were scared of us.
Yeah, then they were scared of us.
And then
'cause
I
we
was
know
like,
Satanists.
okay, shush. We don't shush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mackenzie silenced us. I'm kidding.
So I would say like
Overall experience was mid.
very mid.
I
Mid at
didn't-
best.
We didn't have a bad time,
We made our own fun out
but
of
I
it.
don't think.
yeah.
But we didn't have like a great time.
Yeah,
Especially, so here's the thing: if we had done this episode immediately after going on that ghost tour, we would probably have a little bit better, because we were afterwards. We were like, he probably is a good tour guide when he has a group that was like, if all of the group were like us, he would probably have been a better tour guide. Blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. But then we went on Mackenzie's ghost tour, and we were like, oh, he was just. We don't like it.
yeah. It was not nearly as good.
Unfortunately, we're doing a lot of compare and contrast, and it is more contrast than compare
Yeah,
to the second ghost tour that we
So
went
then
on.
we rinse and repeat 2 weeks later
Yep,
for my birthday.
witchery dinner ghost tour.
And then we get to the cemetery early intentionally because we wanted to wander a little bit.
Yeah, we wanted to take some pictures of the cemetery in the cemetery, do a little bit of exploring before the cemetery technically closed at dark for the ghost tour.
Yeah.
So we get there. It had just rained within a couple of days. The mosquitoes were horrendous.
Oh my god, it was so bad.
I think it rained that day.
I think it had rained earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And so thankfully Sarah's mom keeps bug spray in the car because
Yeah,
we
we were
had
at my
to
mom's car.
douse ourselves
right.
in bug spray.
Because again, it's still hot, so we're in like t-shirts and shorts. I think Mackenzie was in a tank top.
I was in like a little crop top tank
Yeah.
top.
Yeah, with again the birthday,
birthday
boo
boo
sash. And we did a little wander around the cemetery. It was a good we got some cool pictures. We
Oh,
saw
yeah.
some cool tombstones before the sun went down.
and we'll post pictures from.
We have a lot of pictures from that. We
Yeah.
took video of that. But it's meh.
I
We've logged it a little bit.
think I have some of those pictures on my phone still.
I have a bunch of them.
Okay, I deleted a bunch of them off my phone because I was like, these are pictures of nothing.
I kept a lot of them because I was like, if nothing else, these are cool pictures.
Right.
I was like, I love a cemetery. I love that cemetery specifically.
It's beautiful. It's the cemetery
I
on
like the
Broadway.
other side of it though. I like the other side better than the side we were on.
That's fair.
So we
I forgot about things that happened on this tour.
we wait for, and initially it's like one other couple and the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're
And
like,
we're
oh my god,
going-
is this going to be our ghost tour? That's going to be rad.
We were like, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be really cool. And then like a whole ass family showed up and we were like, less rad.
my
Less
favorite
rad.
moment. So first of all, our tour guide is this old woman who is
Dressed
dressed in
up.
all black.
She's
She
so
has a
cool.
veil. She's the coolest bitch on the planet. And I think it was another tour guide
He's being trained.
who was being
Yeah.
trained. I think also was her husband.
Maybe.
There was something there.
There was something there.
I don't know if they're like siblings, husband and wife related, like dating something. They were close.
Yeah.
In a way that she was like, "Hey, go get this from my car."
Yeah.
They were in the car together.
Yeah, they came together in the car.
I really liked him. He was also super, super normal.
Yeah, he was,
was-
especially in comparison to her, who's in like Victorian mourning garb, and then there's
Right.
like Jeff.
Yeah, it's
His
like,
name
this
was
is Jeff.
Thomas.
Yeah,
What's his name? Thomas?
Thomas.
yeah, it's like
Oh.
this guy. He's just a guy.
He's just that guy. He was like, I think in khakis.
Yeah, he was in khakis and a polo,
And I was like,
and
what a
she
guy.
she had
She had a lantern.
she had a cane with a lantern, and she had the headset speaker.
Yes.
So that way she didn't
Oh,
have
I
to
love
yell
those.
and everyone in our group could hear her.
Yeah.
Best thing that happened on that tour, there were a lot of great things that happened, but first things first, we're all gathered around and she goes, "Who here believes in spirits?" Like, I do. And everyone raises their hand except this one fucking kid. So it's like
sassy ass
mom,
some teenager.
mom, dad, and this like teen boy. And the mom and dad like kind of raise their hands, and he like firmly has his arms crossed, and he's standing right in front of her.
Yeah.
And she goes,
And she goes, "Why are you
"Oh."
here?" And he goes, "Well, I'm really interested in history and blah 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 blah." And then she goes, "Oh, so did like mom and dad drag you on this tour?" And they're like, "No, we're here for his birthday." Or whatever. Like, he was the reason they were on this tour as a firm not ghost guy.
Yeah.
Well, and what was funny was he was like, clearly like a JROTC. I've got a pocket knife in my pocket. And,
Yeah.
And like, I'm real cool.
Eagle
You know,
Scout.
I definitely read him as like Eagle Scout. I was like, this little boy.
Boy Scout. Boy Scout, Eagle
Which
Scout.
is fine. Like,
You know,
do
it's
Right,
you.
but he was giving, I'm a logical teen boy in high school. I don't believe in ghosts.
Yeah. Early high school, too.
Early.
I think it was like his 18th birthday.
I don't think so.
He
Yeah,
looked
it
like
was.
he looked like a baby. Regardless,
He looked like an infant.
he was the energy this kid was bringing to the table, and by
Was
the
not
table I mean the
fun.
cemetery. It wasn't not fun. It was very much like, I'm thinking for myself, and the thing that I'm thinking is that ghosts logically can't exist, but I still want to go on this tour.
Yeah.
And this, we were
He's
encouraged.
the I want to be proven wrong. I'm curious. I want to be scared.
This
but I don't think
tour-
this
He
is
wants to
real.
see a ghost.
This tour also highly encouraged bringing
Bringing
cameras
paranormal
Equipment.
and
equipment.
equipment. So we brought the FLIR.
We brought our thermal camera. We all brought our EMFs.
I had a
We
I
had a video camera. One of the cameras that we used to record the last 8 episodes was the camera that we recorded Mackenzie's birthday on.
Yeah.
This root beer's really good.
I'm glad.
Sorry, I just like had taken a sip and was like, "Oh, good root beer." But yeah, so like we have some vlog of it. Maybe if I feel like it, I'll edit some of the video into this.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
No promise.
Um,
So,
So it gets dark. She briefs us on what we're going to be doing.
yep.
And then she says a phrase that all three of us went, "Oh no."
I don't remember this.
She goes.
I remember going, oh no.
Oh, I remember what it was.
She goes, "Okay." Like she's briefing all of us. And she goes, "Okay, so we're going to go in there. And I'm going to talk to whoever's here." And we're like, "Great. Let's talk to
Lovely.
them.
Yeah.
Love them." And she goes, "They often appear
Oh.
as orbs."
She goes, "Take all the pictures you can. They're gonna be orbs."
And we all, don't stop. And we all three went, "Oh, no."
We all go, "Oh,"
We go, oh, is it going to be this kind of tour?
and it really wasn't.
No.
It was not an orb heavy tour.
No.
She was just like,
she
take
is an orb
pictures.
girly,
She
though.
encouraged every single spirit to manifest
Best
as
as
an orb.
orbs.
And we were all just like, "Please stop saying this."
Well, I was like, here's the thing. If I see an orb, if she goes manifest as an orb, and then I see an orb with my eyeballs, I'd be like, all right, cool.
I did see an orb with my eyeballs.
You didn't tell us this.
I did.
I was
When?
with him. You were the only one that missed this. At the end of the tour, at the Catholic part, in the Catholic part of
No,
the
not in the Catholic part. It was in right next to the. Remember how we were looking at the one headstone that was doing funky things like
with
funky
the
temperatures?
with the FLIR.
Right.
behind that, at like in like the like row or two behind that, I told y'all when it happened.
I was paying attention to the temperature weirdness of a tombstone. I was a bit busy.
Because I would not trust any photos
Right.
of orbs in that cemetery because it is right next to Broadway.
A road.
Yeah, I was
And
like,
like
And
there are,
also there was a police party happening across the road from us, aka something happened at a bar and there were a bunch of cops.
and at least one ambulance.
yeah.
This one was also an 8 p.m. tour. Just FYI.
Yes, also at
Yes.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. was a safe time.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can get any of the pictures off of the Fleer and we can put those on Instagram too.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Because I did take some. But yeah, it was the information that she had was really good.
Oh, yeah.
She talked a lot about that mausoleum with the cross on it that's sideways, and she was like, "This was this guy. He was like an influential person in the community." Blah 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 blah. There's a window.
She did correctly name the cross too.
She did
Yes.
say it's this cross because it's representative of carrying the cross to being crucified, not the actual crucifixion. And she talked a lot about that, and we all got to take a bunch of pictures in there because she has had guests capture really odd, not orbs, like odd faces in that mausoleum with
You do a light, you do one without light, and then you do one with her light
with
on.
a flashlight, not with your camera flash, but like she points a flashlight through the glass and you can take the picture that way. And it was like we each got to take a couple of pictures with no flash, with no light, and then a couple of pictures with the light, and then it was the next person's turn. And she was very, very good about like making sure that everyone who wanted to take pictures of a specific thing got to do that.
And if they didn't have to.
Because she's also very much like, if you capture anything and you are willing to share it, I would like to be able to share it with other
people,
like on the next tour, because it's a way to build on the tour, right? It's like, oh, last week we got these odd pictures.
Yeah.
So she was very accommodating of picture taking. She was also very accommodating of Mackenzie wandering around with the video camera, like within
feet of her.
like close and far away, but where she could easily be spotted so we could grab her back.
I did not wander that far away.
Right, but she wasn't like, come back and be with the tour. She was like, you're good, I don't care.
Like I was also a wandering little. I got left behind and I would scurry back, and I'd get left behind and scurry back.
Right, and she was cool with it. She was
Yeah.
like, as long as you stay where you're like close enough to the group to be considered part of the group, that's fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
And then what else? Like other weird. We got a bunch of weird anomalous stuff with tombstones on the Fleer.
Yeah. Like some were really hot, some were really
so
cold.
the initial thing that we saw, we did debunk, which was the light of the where the heat signature was like off by a bit, and that was for some reason when a flashlight was shone on the tombstone that we were pointing the Fleer at, it would just do that.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, what is happening? And we were staring at it for a really long time trying to figure it out. And then the flashlight went away, and then the phenomena went away, and then I went, hold on, and I took out my flashlight and pointed it, and I was like, got it. It's for some reason the light is making a weird reflection of
Heat.
where the heat signature is coming from.
Uh-huh.
But we did have it was a hot day. It was August.
Yeah.
Their tombstones are stone.
And they sit there and absorb.
They sit there and absorb the heat all day long. So for the most part, these stones were warmer than the ground and the air around them, because it obviously
Not by much, because it was fucking
it was hot, but it was enough that the Fleer was like, these are warm, ground is cold, because it had rained. So like ground was wet, a little bit damp, a little bit cool. Tombstones were hot; they'd been absorbing sun all day. There were a couple that were like
ice cold.
Not ice cold, but like on the Fleer. The color palette that I use is like orange to purple. And they were like purple. They were cold in whatever the
range was.
temperature.
They were the
range.
coldest thing on the screen, which
Yeah.
does not mean they were cold. It just means that in comparison to everything else, they were the coldest thing there, which doesn't make any sense. And sometimes they were the completely laying flat headstones, like the just markers. Sometimes they were a standing up marker that was cold. And we don't really
don't-
have any explanation for that. And
No.
I did take pictures of those with the FLIR, because the great thing of the FLIR that we have is sometimes you have to have like an external recording device. Ours is just a camera. You can pull a trigger and it takes a picture of what's on the screen. And I did take pictures of those, and I showed them to our tour guide. And I was like, hey, just so you know, like I have at the end, I was like, I have this thermal camera. I was, when we were walking around, I was checking for any weird thermal stuff. Ghosts sometimes can appear as colder or hotter than the environment around them. I was like, this is not a drastic temperature change. It's not like, oh, the outside air is 100 degrees and this is 2. It was like enough, but it's enough of a fluctuation that the camera noticed it. And I was like, it was really odd. It was these graves. And she goes, oh my gosh, was it like this one? Like, she pointed out the one that it was. She was like, was it this one over here by this? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, people often notice like being colder in that spot. Because I was like, I have no idea what gravestone this is. I was like, I know it was when we were over here.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, was it? Like, she described exactly the right tombstone and was like, yes, that is a phenomenon that people experience. And I went, crazy. And she goes, I need to get one of these. And I went, Amazon, baby. Not that expensive in the grand scheme of like paranormal equipment.
Right.
Because it's
Amen.
not paranormal equipment. I mean, it can be used as paranormal equipment. But
A plumber came into my apartment to look at the flooding from the storm.
The hurricane.
And it was, I think, the exact same FLIR.
Right.
And I looked at it and I went, huh.
And all FLIR stands for forward-looking infrared. So it only looks in one direction. It's an infrared camera. It reads temperature. Forward-looking infrared thermal camera.
And she did a good job. She really knew her history of the people
Oh,
and
yeah.
of the cemetery.
She did, and she's also incredibly respectful.
So
of that
respectful.
cemetery. She said she'll come and she'll clean it up. She does some like trash cleanups, that kind of stuff. She will also leave offerings. It's common to like leave pennies on gravestones and that kind of stuff. She'll do that for some of them. She talks about like there's one that's really famous that has a bunch of Mardi Gras beads on it, and she'll come and clean those up and that kind of stuff. It was just like I was like, oh, I love her. She was very, very kind, and she very much seemed like she cared about the cemetery.
Yeah.
And it is a historic cemetery. It used to be a bunch of different cemeteries that like merged into one just because of they were all next to each other. And that's what happens when you expand a cemetery. And she really did like respect that place, and she had a lot of love and care for it. And if she didn't know the answer to a question, she would say, I don't know, we'll need to look that up. She didn't lie or make something up, which I'm
Right.
not saying that the other tour guide did that, but if she didn't have an answer, she wouldn't pretend to have the answer.
Yeah.
She'd be like, I don't know. Like if somebody asked about a tombstone that she didn't know the history of that person, she would just say, it's not somebody that I've researched.
Yeah.
Because I think there were a couple that were like, we were talking about this family's tombstone that had a whole bunch of people on it, and there was a big flat tombstone next to it, and somebody was like, what about this? And she goes, I can't tell you.
I
I
don't know. That's somebody I don't know about.
That's somebody I don't know about. But she did know so much.
Oh my God. Yeah. She knew so much.
She knew so much. We got our money's worth on that tour.
Yeah.
I would not say we necessarily got our money's worth on the other tour.
No.
We definitely got our money's worth on.
Yeah. And like, that's one that I would go on again.
Me too.
Like, we've already been on that tour. I would do it again.
I would. Because I think it would be a different experience.
Yeah.
She might have new intel.
She might have new intel.
Maybe she'll have a FLIR.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
Maybe she's caught some orbs on her FLIR.
That'd be so funny.
I will say the orbs wore me out.
It was really funny because she would go to the she would go to the grave and she would be like, so and so, we are here to talk to you. We would love it if you were in the mood to show yourself to us. If you could
As an
appear
orb.
as some orbs, that would be great. And we were like, why don't you ask them to just show themselves and whatever they feel like doing?
Yeah. What if they're not comfy doing an orb?
What if they don't want to
wanna
be an
a
orb?
cube?
What if they're tired of orbs? What if they want to appear
I
as a
was
butterfly?
tired of orbs in the 2 hours, the hour or whatever we were there. I was tired.
I was tired.
Do you want to talk about your
Yeah.
odd experience?
Yeah.
Chris
Okay.
had 2.
He had the orb, and then
And yeah, I had the orb, and then towards the end, like at the end of the tour, we went into the Catholic part of the cemetery, and I am a recovering Catholic.
Which is my favorite thing to say. I love saying recovering Catholic.
So I grew up Catholic, and I am no longer a practicing Catholic,
Right.
or a Catholic at all.
Right.
But
I mean, technically, you're still culturally Catholic because of the way you were raised.
yeah, I'm
but-
culturally Catholic,
Not religiously Catholic.
not religious. And we went into the Catholic part of the cemetery, which I've gone to this cemetery so many times.
Right.
During COVID, it was one of the places that I would go hang out.
It's also a beautiful cemetery.
It's beautiful.
Especially when the little yellow flowers are blooming.
Yes.
My mom loves that cemetery when the flowers are blooming.
It's so pretty. One of my favorite places.
It's so nice.
And
We should take some lawn chairs and just go hang out there
yeah,
on like during the middle of the day.
springtime. Yeah,
Yeah.
Not in the summer.
not in the summer.
When it's not a billion degrees outside.
I was like, I love you both. I will
no,
not
no, no.
sit out there in
like
the summer.
No.
like late March, early April. Go
That would be
chill.
fine.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Have
Continue.
some lunch.
Have some lunch. Bring
But
the
I've
pudding.
never been into the Catholic part of the cemetery because it's always just kind of ekes me out.
And
Like,
you did say you were like kind of dreading going in there. You were like, I
you
don't
know,
want
I
to
was
go in
like,
there.
because she didn't say that we're going into the Catholic part of the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know that we're going into the Catholic part of the cemetery, and I was like, I really hope we don't go into that part because I
don't want to.
I don't think I want to go in there.
Right.
Just because I get bad vibes from that part of the cemetery. And then the end of the we're getting towards the end of the tour, and we're going that way towards
And
the Catholic
Kris is
part of the
looking at
cemetery,
me
and I
like,
go,
Kris
And-
is just looking
and she
at
was
me.
telling us because apparently that's where they've gotten pictures of like a full-bodied apparition by the big tree.
Of a
that's over
nun.
there.
Of a
Yeah, Of a
nun.
nun.
Chris was like looking at me like, I
was like,
really don't want to do
A
that.
nun.
it's like, do I have to?
Yes.
I didn't. I did not have to.
You didn't
I
have
could have.
to.
I could have stood outside of that part of the cemetery and just like let the
And
rest
waited.
of the tour.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it.
You're a big brave boy.
I'm gonna be a big brave boy. I have my two besties, and we're gonna go in the Catholic part of the cemetery, and it's gonna be fine. If anything happens, then something will happen, and then we'll have some sort of evidence of something happening.
If anything happens, then something happened.
Right, then something happened. And I went in like across essentially the threshold,
Yeah.
and almost immediately pounding headache.
Yep.
Like I feel like I might pass out. I
Chris
might
is
faint.
like I'm gonna need
Yeah.
to hold my
He
hand.
he went. I have a headache, and we were like immediately.
But
Chris
we
was like, you might need to hold my hand out here because my head, like, he's like, my head really hurts. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
like make sure I don't fall over.
Right.
It was crazy because I was like, oh, I just don't feel good. My head hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of thought, I was like, well, maybe it's because it's hot and we haven't really been drinking water.
Right.
And I was like, let's just, not that it can't be paranormal, but like,
Right,
it is
like-
1,000 degrees out here and we did not bring any water in
There are
with us.
plenty of other likely
Chris is
reasons.
you get headaches a lot. I was
do.
like, it could truly be
It-
anything.
It really could be anything.
But
and-
the weird part, we finished
the tour
We tipped the lady because she was great.
and we head out. We leave that part of the cemetery.
As soon as we crossed, Chris is like, my headache is gone.
It started disappearing very quickly. Like once we got to about like 15, 20 feet away from the entrance of that part of the cemetery, the pressure it was going away. And so like I was still achy because I was like, it felt like there was an elephant inside of my head trying to explode out.
Right. It was getting smaller though.
Yeah.
The elephant was getting smaller.
The elephant disappeared, but like everything was like, how there was just an elephant
in
inside
here.
of my head.
Yeah. Which was very odd.
Which was very odd. By the time we got back to the car, I was like,
I'm
yeah,
fine.
I think I'm pretty good.
And to kind of describe the layout of the cemetery, if you've never been to Galveston and don't know what we're talking about, it's a bunch of cemeteries that have merged into one big
It
cemetery.
was 7 cemeteries.
It has down the middle.
big boulevard.
It has a big road, and then into each cemetery, there's like a little step up. There's like a brick wall that goes
Around the
along the two
sections.
sides of the road, and then each cemetery has like a little sidewalk to get into it, and then sidewalks that take you kind of through the gravestones. So like there
And-
genuinely was like a threshold that we crossed from the road into that section of
Because you
the
have
cemetery.
multiple religions
Yeah, there's, like,
represented. There's a
there's-
Jewish section.
Yeah.
There's the Catholic.
There's a Catholic section. There's an Episcopal section. There's a Protestant in general. I don't know if it's a specific brand,
I
like
don't-
I
kind
don't
of
think
Protestant.
so.
But yeah, there's like a bunch of different sections of cemetery in
And
there.
then there's like the old city and new city.
Yeah,
Um,
there's the city cemeteries.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, and the Catholic section is like kind of in the back.
and it's not
Corner.
a huge cemetery either. It is like half of a city block.
Right.
And there's a lot of graves. They're stacked graves.
They are
They are
stacked
stacked
graves
graves.
because every time that
We flooded.
the island raised, they raised that cemetery and just put new dirt on top of it and buried more people. They didn't move the people. And for a lot of them, the markers didn't get moved either. So there are tombstones buried in that cemetery because that section of the island has been raised twice.
Yeah.
So very interesting, very old, it did have not spooky vibes, but again, like going to Ashton Villa where you're like, oh, this is like a place.
Yeah. It has energy
Yeah.
inherent to it.
Yeah. Very interesting. And I think we should go back in the daytime and just kind of vibe in there.
Yeah. I think we should hang out.
Yeah. Eat a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Take some pennies.
What I used to do, go to Kroger, get Kroger sushi, go sit in the cemetery,
Oh,
have my sushi,
yeah.
go back to the dorms.
Great.
Yep.
We're not going to go back to the dorms. We don't live there anymore.
No, I don't want to go there.
So all in all,
I rate that one like an 8.5.
Oh,
yeah. I like loved that ghost tour.
That was
I don't want to
great.
give it a 10 out of 10 because I don't think that it was like I feel like like the orb thing knocks it down at least to a 9.
Yeah.
Definitely would recommend to
No.
anybody. I would recommend that to anybody who wants to go on a ghost tour. I
Yeah.
think that the cemetery tour with the like Lady in Black is a great tour. She did a fantastic job. She was very knowledgeable. The tour was fun. The group that we went with was like again a mixed group, but
Yeah.
everyone was into it
Yeah.
because that one is more of a like it's a cemetery.
It's a cemetery.
It's a cemetery tour.
Yeah.
It's not
And so,
a
like,
historic tour.
Even
That's a
if they
ghost
weren't
tour.
into like the ghosts, they were like super into like the
Cemeteries,
macabre,
right?
like
They wanted to be in a cemetery after dark.
yeah,
So the vibe was better on that tour in general.
way better.
She was great. Her assistant was great. The people were great. The place was great. It felt like less walking, even though we were walking for almost a solid 2 hours.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stopping and talking and
Yeah.
like stuff.
Yeah.
Right. But the other one we like covered, I think
we-
like
we had
essentially
to hoof
4,
it.
we like were running 4 city blocks it felt like, and we finished in less time than I think we were supposed to
Yeah.
on the first one. And it was I love that cemetery tour. We should go again. Maybe we'll do that one a second time for my birthday.
If you want to,
Whatever you're vibing
I got to
with.
figure out which one I want.
we can also do the other cemetery tour from the other company.
We could do the other cemetery tour from the other company. Do a compare.
Yeah.
Compare with them.
Compare with it.
Compare with them. But yeah, that one great tour. Would recommend. Would recommend to spooky. Would recommend to not spooky. You just got to be interested in walking around a cemetery.
Yeah.
I hope that's your vibe if you're
Yeah.
listening to this podcast. If it's not your vibe, that's okay. It's a fun tour though. You should go anyway.
Yeah.
Just step outside of your comfort zone and go on that tour because it's a cool tour.
It's worth it.
Yeah. I think it was only
We paid $25 a person for each tour.
there you go. Not that much.
Yeah,
If you're going by
not
yourself.
crazy.
I mean, it wasn't that much for
And-
3 people.
Yeah, and also we are going in not really the on season of tourism or ghost tours, right? We were going end of August.
Yeah.
That's not really like ghost tour season. It's also not really like peak tourist season for Galveston, and our tours were both full.
Yeah.
So if you go by yourself, you're not going to be the only one on the tour probably. So if that's something that you're worried about, there will be other people no matter when you go. Because again, it was garbage weather when we went on the one for the cemetery one.
Yeah, like, there was, like,
it had
stormy
rained that
lightning.
morning, and she was like, "We may have to call the tour if there's lightning."
Yeah.
She was like, "We're gonna walk kind of fast."
Yeah, we're gonna
'cause-
try and get through this. And thankfully, the weather held off for
Yeah.
us. But again, bad weather. It was the end of August, so not touristy.
You know, like tourists have started going home because school is starting soon. And
Yeah, and it was hot, but it was not yet like end of September into October either, where I would expect ghost tourists to be busy.
Yeah.
So it was good.
It was really good.
It was good, and it was crowded in
Yeah.
a good crowded in a good way.
Yeah.
Like I did not think there were too
was
many
full.
people. It was full, a full tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love
10 out of 10 would recommend. I would actually give the tour probably a 9, but I would
Yeah,
say that
I would say like an
definitely
8.5 or a
recommend.
9.
Definitely recommend. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's all you need to know about our ghost tours recently.
Yeah. Recommend us ghost tours. We'll go on them
Yeah.
and
Go on
review
them.
them.
If you have one you think is really good and it's wherever it is, we'll travel.
Yeah, we'll travel.
Yeah, we can.
Have ghost tour, we'll travel.
Let us know. Send us an email.
Yeah.
If you've been on a ghost tour and experienced something, tell us about it.
Tell us about it.
Send us your pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've
Send us
caught
weird
something
pictures.
on a like a ghost tour, or even just like out and about.
Send
You've
us
caught
weird
a weird
pictures.
picture. Send it to us. We'll look at it.
Tune in next week for the start of another
Well, no, not really.
Kind of a theme. Maybe a theme. Not
kind
really
of
a theme.
not really
Not
a
really a
theme.
theme.
Just some weird, just some more weird stuff.
More weird stuff. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is for weirdos.
Are you a weirdo?
Thursdays are for the phenomena.